The new Bose 900 Atmos Soundbar. Is it worth a space in your living room? Let's find out. Hey guys, it's Jonathan from Smart Home Sounds, and today we have the Bose 900 Atmos enabled soundbar in our studio. Now this is one that many of you have asked us to do a review on, so we thought it was about time we reviewed this soundbar. And yes, I will be giving you a tasty sound demo, as well as comparing it with the Bose 900's main competitor, the Sonos Arc, a little bit later, so stick around for that. And the Bose 900 Smart Soundbar then, so this is Bose's first premium Atmos enabled soundbar with dedicated height channels. It's available in black or Arctic white, and it's sold for £849.95 RRP, which puts it in the territory of the likes of the Sony HT-A7000 and the Sonos Arc. It measures in at 104.5 centimeters long, 5.81 centimeters high, and a depth of 10.7 centimeters. So definitely make sure you have enough space, as well as making sure it will look practical under your TV, because it is quite long, and because of that, I'd say it's going to be suitable for around about 49-inch TVs and above. Now it has got Amazon and Google Assistant built in. It's also got Bluetooth control, a very nice acoustic optimization feature. It does work with other Bose Wi-Fi enabled speakers through the Bose Music app. You can connect to your TV via HDMI eARC or optical, and you have the option of adding surround speakers and a sub for a full 5.1.2 Atmos system. More on all that very shortly. So let's take a closer look at the Bose 900's design then. So I think Bose tend to go for a more traditional tech look with the design of their products in terms of how sleek and modern they are. After getting this out of the box, the 900 fitted into that look, but having positioned it where it's supposed to go, which is under the TV, it blends into the setup very nicely, and you don't really notice it beneath the TV like you perhaps do with other soundbars. Personally, I don't know if it's a little bit too basic for me, but I showed this to a few other people in the office and they quite liked it. So it's horses for courses at the end of the day, and the fact that it is so discreet is quite appealing. Now it does retain quite a slim height, so it shouldn't intrude onto the bottom of most TV screens, which is handy. Now around the sides and the front, you've got this metal grille, so nice and hard wearing, with this glossy glass finish on the top of the unit. Now what was quite an obvious downside to the glass finish on the top when we got it out of the box is that as soon as we touched anything on the top, it immediately left a fingerprint, and it will show dust quite clearly, so it does require a bit of cloth maintenance every so often. Speaking of what you get in the box, you get the soundbar itself, an optical cable, an HDMI cable, power cable, quick start guide, and remote control. Now I do want to touch on the remote control because it's not the same premium backlit one that you get on the Bose 700, unfortunately. Still perfectly functional, and a lot of people will be thankful that a remote control is supplied in the first place. So if you like physically touching the buttons to control it, you'll appreciate it, but you don't necessarily need to use it, as your existing remote control will still be able to control the volume. So we've turned the unit around, and on the back you've got your power port, a single HDMI eARC connection for connecting to the TV, optical input if your TV doesn't have an HDMI ARC, an Ethernet port for making a wired connection to your Wi-Fi router if you need it. You've also got an adaptic input, which is what you'll use to calibrate the soundbar, more on that later, a USB, which is irrelevant because it's just service only, a wired bass module, and a wired IR blaster. Under the casing, you've got 9 drivers in total, consisting of 3 tweeters, 4 racetrack transducers, and 2 up-firing speakers, which I did actually have to dig for because they don't publish this on their spec. It is also possible to wall mount the Bose 900 using a mount which is sold separately. Just bear in mind that if you are mounting the TV and a soundbar in an alcove, you'll want to allow a bit of space either side of the soundbar so that the sound can fire to the sides without issues. So on to sound quality then. Now I'd love to get straight into playing some content, but there is a couple of bits of very important information that I need to talk to you about. Now out of the box, and by that I mean when we just plugged it in and started listening without making any customizations to the sound, admittedly the sound was okay, but we weren't blown away by it. However, after completing the adaptic tuning process and then modifying the bass and the center channel, I got it to a level that I think makes it definitely worth its price point and a serious contender in that £900 soundbar market. What you do is connect this headset to the adaptive input on the back of the soundbar and then wear the headset in your watching position, and then just follow the 5-step process on the app that will emit different sorts of test tones. I was amazed at just how far the sound could project to the ceiling and the sides. I also don't know of any other brand that uses a headset for the tuning process. You guys might know of one, but I've certainly not experienced it before. Now, you want to make sure your room is as quiet as it can be before you start tuning, because the first time we did it resulted in an awful static sound when we played all of our content. On the second time round, it was like it evolved into a new soundbar instantly. The soundstage got wider, the mid-range improved, and the soundbar just felt more complete and well-rounded. I would definitely say this adaptive tuning process made more of an impact than other room correction software that we've ever used. I would also highly recommend taking a look at the Bose Music app and playing around with the EQ adjustments that you can make, particularly the bass level and the center channel adjustment. Again, out of the box, I thought the Bose bass sounded a bit flat and not very weighty, but I kicked up the bass a little and this was all I needed for most of my content. It didn't take anything away from the mid-range or the highs either, it just gave it a well-needed punch. And I also increased the center channel, and again, center channel adjustment is such a good feature to have because this controls a lot of the vocals and higher frequencies, which is critical for your listening experience and the main storytelling of your content. I really think that the EQ customization will be able to convert previous Bose critics. So that is why I'm actually going to give you 2 sound tests here. One straight out of the box, so without touching any of the settings, and then a second one with my optimizations that I made, including the adaptive technology. I'm going to play both Dolby Atmos content and music content on both, so I'd really recommend grabbing some headphones or listening to this section. I have a decent audio system at this point, so it can translate as best as possible to your ears. As always, I'll make my quick disclaimer that while I do my best with these sound tests, it's never going to translate perfectly for you watching at home as it does when you're in front of the product itself. But let's see what you guys think.
Where do we start?
Here we go again, huh?
Hello, girl, kick your ass. Where do we start?
Here we go again, huh?
Hello, girl, kick your ass.
I wanna tell you that I love you 100 times a day. You'll get tired of my voice, that's how much I wanna tell you that I miss you.
Oh, how my heart aches. You keep pulling me out, I keep holding you.
So I hope you're able to hear the difference there, the same as I did. For watching TV content, the soundbar is able to process Atmos extremely well. While it doesn't have dedicated sideways firing drivers, only height channels, I didn't feel it needed sideways drivers as its psychoacoustic processing for the width was very impressive by itself. The height channels I felt went just above the TV for the most part, but what is good is that you can adjust the intensity of the height channels. So if you're not getting enough height, maybe because of the architecture in your room, this will come in very handy. A couple of standout moments for me were in Blade Runner 2049 in the rain scene. It felt like the rain covered the whole wall. You could actually isolate where individual raindrops sounded like they were coming from. I couldn't believe, honestly, that the sound was coming from that form factor. The other scene was from Interstellar when they're driving through those crop fields, and it seemed to capture every rustle of the crops, and it did draw me in. Sound was just bouncing all over the room. Now, I did find that particularly hectic scenes when listened to at higher volumes, and by hectic I just mean that when there's a combination of music, action, sound effects all in one, it can get a bit muddy and it sort of blends into one, and I found myself turning it down just a little bit. I would also say that this soundbar performs best with Atmos, so if you're not going to be able to get Atmos because your TV is too old or you don't watch a lot of Atmos content anyway, you're not really going to be getting the most out of this soundbar. The Bose app also does state when you're getting Atmos, which is nice, and you do also have other supported codecs built in like Dolby Digital, Dolby True HD and Dolby Digital Plus. Unfortunately, no support for DTS or DTS-X though, which is going to be a bit of a downside for people with large collections of Blu-rays, as they'll need to listen in 2-channel stereo if they don't have a games console or Blu-ray player that is capable of converting DTS to a different codec that is supported by the Bose. When we tested the Bose 900 for music, I did get mixed results. Some tracks like electronic and dance felt like they were missing some detail in the mid-range, but then pop music and jazz sounded pretty impressive. I would say on the whole, the Bose 900 does perform better with TV than music slightly, so if you think TV is going to take a back seat in your listening, I would say there probably are better systems out there for you. What was consistent on all music that we tested was tight bass, clean kick drums and clear vocals. Again, listening at higher volumes did result in a bit of distortion and started to sound a bit harsh, so do bear that in mind. I would also recommend cranking up the bass to give it some more impact. Moving on to the Bose Music app and some interesting features then. So setting up the soundbar took me about 5 minutes, excluding the 15-minute update. It was pretty straightforward, and I could import streaming services to the Bose app out of Spotify, Deezer or Amazon Music. Hopefully they do add more in the future, because I quite like being able to control music within the Bose app itself, but because the Bose has Bluetooth and AirPlay 2 built in, it really doesn't matter what music service you have as long as you're okay streaming from Bluetooth, AirPlay 2 or Spotify Connect. A couple of things to draw your attention to as well are dialogue mode, so you can enhance the vocals, maybe if you're watching or listening to heavily vocal based content, or if you're just a bit hard of hearing. This comes in really handy. Also, being a Bose multi-room speaker, if you have other Bose multi-room products, you can group audio to multiple rooms at once or have different speakers playing different things. Overall, I think the Bose Music app works well, and it will continue to get better over time via free software updates. I would say the Bose Music app is on par with, say, the Bowers & Wilkins Music app. I would say both are still a way off the Sonos app as regards to controlling a complete home music system, with certain useful day-to-day features missing. Okay, on to how it compares with competitors in this market then. So one soundbar that we are keen to test out is the Sony HT-A700. Depending on when you watch this review, we may have a review of this up on our channel. It will be linked below if so. However, for now, we are still waiting to get our hands on one to put it to the test in this competitive soundbar market, as there have been some interesting reviews so far. Stay tuned for that comparison. One soundbar that we can compare it with is the Sonos Arc, which is another Dolby Atmos soundbar in a very similar price bracket, and a comparison that lots of you has asked for. There is a price difference of £50 between them, with the Bose 900 being the more affordable option at $849 and the Sonos coming in at $899. So this is assuming that you have the budget for both. In all honesty though, you're not going to lose with either of these soundbars. Both give you a great listening experience and both do Atmos extremely well. Where the differences lie are in the details. Sound quality wise, I would probably say the Bose is not quite as good as the Sonos out of the box, but, and that is a big but, the adaptic technology in the Bose is more in-depth than Sonos's TruePlay, and as you can adjust the center channel in the Bose and not the Sonos, this is a massive advantage. Once we completed the adaptic technology, these two soundbars come very, very close in sound quality. But personally, I do think the Sonos handles complex scenes more clearly than the Bose, and also offers a slightly wider soundstage due to those sideways firing drivers. I also feel the Arc also offered a more natural listening experience when listening to music. And because of that, you will need to think about your percentage between watching TV and movies and then listening to music. Truthfully, it is very close, and I would totally understand if some listeners preferred the Bose sound profile, especially if you have and enjoy other Bose audio products, while others might love the sound of Sonos. Feature-wise, there are a few things to note. First of all, the Bose has Bluetooth and the Sonos does not. Now, some people prefer the familiarity and simplicity of Bluetooth, which is fair enough, and might be a big tick in the box for Bose. Also, the Bose does not support DTS, whereas the Sonos either will do soon or does already, depending on when you watch this review. So owners of large collections of Blu-rays may have a better experience overall with the Sonos. Finally, there's no remote control supplied with Sonos, as the idea is that you pair your existing TV remote with it. That will be down to personal preference whether you see that as a benefit or not. It's also worth pointing out that if you are looking to build up a full surround system consisting of a separate sub and rear surround speakers, you can do this for both options, and the end price would come out at £2,000 for both options. Now, we haven't been able to listen to the Bose in its full surround glory yet, but if you would like us to do a full surround comparison, please let us know and we'll see what we can do. One thing to know is that the subwoofer and surround speaker components in the Bose system can only be used with Bose TV speakers, whereas the Sonos Sub and the 1SLs don't necessarily have to feature within a home cinema application. So the Sub can be paired with any other Sonos speaker in the range, and the 1SLs can be used as just speakers for music around your home. Now, do let us know if you would like a more in-depth comparison which would feature a sound quality test and more differences, as there is quite a lot to cover, but we've tried to summarize this as best we can. So starting to wrap up then, so I'm going to cover the main strengths and weaknesses of the Bose 900, starting off with the strengths. I would say it's definitely worth its price point due to the customizations that you can do in the app and how well it can process Atmos. The Adaptic technology is very impressive, and its slim design means it will be compatible with lots of different TV setups. It also offers Bluetooth connectivity, which I know some people really look for in a soundbar option. The negatives are that there's no support for DTS, although it is possible that this can be added in a future software update if they want to. There's no dedicated sideways firing drivers, which do give the perception of more width, and it's not as good as it could have been at high volumes, both for music and TV. So who's the Bose 900 right for then? Well, I'd say if you're looking for a premium Atmos soundbar that's simple to use day to day and blends into your home setup, it sounds great with Atmos content, and one that you can also stream music to, this is a fantastic option. The Adaptic and customizable EQ break down some of the taboos sometimes associated with Bose's sound profile. In my opinion, if you're happy with the features it has and what it supports, this could certainly be a viable option for you. It's built well and it will last for many years. So that's the end of the review, guys. Please let us know your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, as we've got plenty more to come in the future. As always, do let us know if there is a particular comparison that you'd like to see, whether that's Bose products or any other product, and we'll do our very best to cover it very soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon.